Hi guys, today SmallRig announced two new exciting lights, the RC350D and this one here, the RC450D, D standing for daylight. It is embargo day and your boy Mark was on the list. Now this 450D, this is particularly compelling because at 20,100 lux at 1 meter bare bulb only, this competes very much with the Aputure 600D in terms of brightness. However, this guy is $400 cheaper, so we should talk about it. Oh, and I'm going to show you something crazy that a powerful light can do in this video. Keep watching. So thanks to SmallRig for sending out the 450D for review for you guys and also for trusting me with the embargo list. I almost slipped up a few times. I almost tweeted it out. You know, stuff like that. No, you can trust me, SmallRig. I never blab my mouth out. Anyway, the 600D from Aputure, that is a very powerful light and people were very excited when that came out, and so they should have been. You know, content creators, people on a budget can get very bright COB lights with, you know, that Bowen's mount to put on those light modifiers that you would like. And the Aputure 600D bare bulb, Aputure says you can get 22,150 lux at 1 meter. So that fact that this thing can get 20,100, that is very close. And the measurements that SmallRig themselves did that they sent me, they said this one's actually a little bit brighter, but I'm just gonna go by the spec sheets. And you know what? I'm gonna say both are extremely bright and are very close in brightness. So if you don't need those extra features of the Aputure light, then this guy might be the way to go. What are the extra features? I'll talk about that in a second. And now let's talk about that crazy thing I alluded to. A lot of people think, why would you need a light that powerful? Well, number one, you could be in a big space that you need to light up and you need a very powerful light, or you can't sit very close to your lights and they're further away. Another reason you would need a very powerful light. But one of the reasons that I like them is for daylight shooting outside in the day. Now, here's the thing, is if you're out on a bright sunny day and you want the sky in the shot, then you are going to need a very strong light to light your subject so that you can also keep the sky from blowing out. Here, now, let me say, it's gonna look like I exposed this incorrectly, but I will prove to you that I did not, that I exposed it fine. It's just you will see the difference with the light and without the light. It is so bonkers. Okay, now the first shot here is if I exposed for the sky so that I don't blow out my sky, then you will see the subject, me, the gorgeous subject, is it's too dark. And no matter what I try to do in post to color correct this, it is just not going to work very well. It's going to be washed out. It is just not going to be an acceptable footage that I would show anyone. But what if you expose for the subject with the bright sky behind you at 12 o'clock in the day? Well, check this out. Now, look at this. It looks like I exposed this completely incorrectly, but I will show you here. Just let me drag over a mask and put it over my little color checker here, and you will see that the black and the gray, the middle gray, and the black and the white, they're actually where they're supposed to be. So this is how the image looks. And now this is how the image looks if I expose for the sky and then bring in the powerful RC450D to bring up the exposure on my pretty face. Look at this. Look at the difference between the two shots. It is ridiculous. And I will show you again with the color checker. The black, gray, and white are in the same spot. So when you don't have a powerful light like this and you're out in the daytime, you do have to make some choices and some concessions. And people do make these choices, including Steven Spielberg. Let me show you a screenshot from Saving Private Ryan. Here's old Matt Damon. Try not to be disgusted at his face compared to someone who looks as good as me. Look at the shot. See, his sky is completely blown out. Spielberg just was like, yeah, just blow out the sky. I don't care. I just want Damon. I want his face in focus. And it was a stylistic choice. I'm sure Spielberg can afford a light or two, but this is what he chose. But as you can see, the sky is completely and utterly obliterated back there. So that is something you can do. However, I prefer to, you know, have a nice looking blue sky, at least for what I do, but I'm not making a war movie. So active cooling, there's a big fan here up on top, and I gotta tell you, this fan is very quiet for the amount of power that this thing generates. I measured it at about 40 decibels coming out. Nice warm air blows out. It feels nice actually, and it's a very nice, you know, sometimes lights still have that high-pitched electronic whirring sound. This is nice and low and rumbly and a very pleasing sound in terms of the noise that comes out of it, and seeing how the noise that comes out of it is about 40 decibels for a light that is this powerful. Very, very impressed. It is dead simple. Look at that. Just two knobs, frequency, intensity, and then a button for the effects. So you can cycle through the effects by pressing that button, and the frequency, if you turn that up, the effects flash faster, and the intensity, of course, is the brightness. And that's it. It just has a little LCD screen. I forgot I didn't have it plugged in, so I'll just plug it in to show you the LCD screen. Hopefully it won't blind me. There it is. Okay, now luckily I don't think I have, yes, I have the intensity turned down to 0. So there's your LCD screen right here. And now you'll press this button. I'm not going to do it because then the effects will kick in, and people who are photosensitive to flashes and things like that, then they're going to be really mad at me, and they should. But I will read you out the effects. I don't think that gives anybody seizures. You have paparazzi mode, TV, faulty bulb. I can never say bulb properly. Faulty bulb, and lightning, breath, party, flash, flame, fireworks. Of course, that's all daylight balance. There's no colors in that whatsoever. I don't know who uses those effects, but if you want to use them, there you go. But I will say, you can hear the clicking on and off when you are using, say, the flash, when it's shooting it, pretending it's like the paparazzi flashing photography. You can hear the power brick actually click on and off, on and off. So if that's an issue for you, there you go. But I don't use the effects anyway. It's nice to have them in there. Most lights have these type of effects these days. And even though it's dead simple to control it on the back here, there's also an app that they provide, which is easy to hook up and very easy to use, the SmallRig Go app. And you can also buy a little controller. I just banged the light. You can also buy a little controller to control it from the back here with the cord. You just put that in, you can have that next to you. I actually really like this because I don't like having to get up to control my light right here. So I would definitely purchase this to go along with that so that I can leave the light where I am. Let's say I'm sitting in front of it and I want to adjust the intensity or whatever, then I can just bring this thing over instead of having to stand up and go to the back, or using my phone. Let's say my phone was tied up, you know, there you go. Now it is well made, but it is a plastic material. It doesn't have a lot of metal on it. So I wouldn't consider this a very rugged, you know, grab and go light if you're in heavy duty productions. I think if you want something like that, you want to look at the Aputure 600D Pro, not the regular 600D, but the 600D Pro, which is weather sealed and is built more like a tank. This guy, I think, is better for like studio settings, things like that. And the way it connects to the tripod is it has this heavy-duty metal connector right here, and you just screw it on, kind of like you do with your camera's faceplate of a tripod. You just, you know, fasten it right in here, tighten it up, and it's good to go. And that really holds it. Let me show you a picture of the big softbox I had on it outside being held by this thing, no problem whatsoever. So here's what attaches to your light stand right here. You see the SmallRig, it is all metal, including the handle here. It is extremely solid, and I would trust that with any kind of weight. It comes with this nice carrying case right here that is very lightweight, and it just has foam cutouts on the inside. And as you can see, even though it's a very powerful light, the whole setup is not actually that big. The weight in the case is about 15 or 16 pounds or so when you include the power brick and the light and the case itself. And this is the case that the D85, the light modifier that I showed you outside, that is what is in this case right here. So right here, this, and this right here is really all you have to take, and you have an extremely powerful setup. So what are the drawbacks for buying this compared to the Aputure light? Well, the build quality I've already talked about a little bit, and I like that yoke that comes with the Aputure. And this right here, the power brick. So this is just a plain old slab power brick, and then you have to control everything from the ballast here on the light. Whereas with the Aputure, the power brick is also the control, and it also has V-mount plates on the control panel itself for Aputure. Whereas this guy, you'd have to buy the V-mount plate separately and adapt it into this guy right here. Whereas the Aputure, it comes with it, and then you can also move it. I like having the control panel closer to me. Now, like I said, this thing solves a lot of that problems, but again, that's an extra cost, and whereas the Aputure, it's included right there. And also, Aputure is a big company with a big ecosystem, lots of lights, and if you have some Aputure lights and you're doing the Sidus Link app, then you may want to stay with that. But the SmallRig is very exciting what they're doing. They're producing very high-quality lights at very reasonable prices, and they have their own app, and I have a bunch of these already. I have the 120, and I have two of the RC 120 lights, actually, the B and the D, and I love them a lot. And this one is an absolutely fantastic light, and I love the competition. I love that they're pushing each other, and SmallRig is doing their own thing and making really great products. I've been doing a lot of SmallRig videos lately because they just keep coming out with great stuff, and they send it over here, and I show you guys this thing. Fantastic. So is the 600D worth the extra $400? I don't know. That is up to you. All I know is that I will be using the heck out of this thing. The heck, you hear that? I'm wholesome. Using the heck out of this thing, especially when I get my new studio set up in my garage. I'm going to need a whole lot of lights for that. So thanks very much, SmallRig, for sending this guy out, and we'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.